Oh, it's you. You're here. I can't believe it's you. I actually found you. Well, I know we live in the same compound, but it's so hard to get around here when you're drunk. This building is huge and I kept getting lost. It doesn't matter that I've lived here for years. When I'm drunk, everything gets all... you know. True. I don't drink often, but well, you know Eureka, right? Wait, of course you do. We're all part of the same Paradox Legion together. You two are actually pretty good friends, right? I mean, I see you two hanging out a lot and you seem to get along. Actually, I never asked, but now that I'm thinking about it, you two aren't... Never mind. That's not what we're here to talk about. You were asking about... What were you asking about again? Sorry, I forgot. Right. You wanted to know why I was drinking. So, Eureka was curious about how alcohol affected all of us with psychic and mind-related powers, and I agreed to help out. So for the past couple hours, Eureka has been measuring our alcohol intake and the absorption rate and blood alcohol concentration and whatever other big fancy words they were saying. At least I could keep up, but after about 2 hours, I started to not really care, so I just kept drinking and doing whatever they asked me to do. But since I have illusion and mind manipulation powers, they started to affect me because I'm drunk and don't have as good control as they usually do, so I was putting myself in an illusion. Eureka could explain it in more sciencey way than me, but since I'm the one who has to deal with it whenever I get drunk. Lots of different kinds. At first it's just small illusions, like seeing things in the wrong places or floating. But when I start drinking even more, they get weirder. Like, the bottles all start to glow and get wings, and the ground turned into the ocean, and I was standing on top of it. But then that illusion started to wear off, and then I started seeing all these really pretty dragonflies. Their wings looked just like those cool, colorful windows. You know, the ones that make everything really pretty? Yeah, stained glass. That's what I was thinking of. You're so smart. You always know what I'm talking about. Oh right, I was telling you the story. So anyway, there were tons of butterflies, and there were some lightning bugs too. They were everywhere, and they kept whispering to me. Yeah, they were talking. They kept telling me that I needed to find you so I could tell you. Tell you how I feel about you, of course. Oh, wait. I meant to give you these first. Here. I got some flowers for you. When I was wandering around trying to find my room, I accidentally managed to get outside, but I found some nice flowers to give you. So I think it all worked it out in the end. Though apparently it was raining outside and I didn't notice until someone pointed it out when I came back in. It's just harder for me to tell reality from my illusions when I'm drunk. I can't even tell that I just went in the rain, even though they were all saying that I'm soaked. Oh, sorry if I'm getting water everywhere. And you're looking at me weird. Something wrong? Yeah, I'm sure they're flowers. Why? Wait, they're not flowers? What are they? Dandelions, tall grass, tumbleweed, and stalks of wild mint? Really? But they look just like roses. I mean, I know how my powers work. It's just so weird to be able to experience what my powers do to people. It's been years since I've gotten training for them. Really, I was just a kid last time something like this happened. Ugh, it's so embarrassing. I should probably go. No, I'm not just gonna stay here and make you babysit me. I'm a grown adult and I can find my way back to my room on my own. Just let me go so I don't embarrass myself anymore. I'm still gonna leave. I have to wait until all the dragonflies get out of my way. I know they're not real. It's just, they look so real, you know? Like, even though I know I'm the only one that's like mind creating them, I just don't have the mental attitude. Yeah, that mental fortitude. I don't have the mental fortitude to keep myself from falling from my own illusions. When we were younger, this same thing used to happen whenever I got sick too. Do you remember that? Exactly. He never came out of my room when I was sick as a kid. Because when I got sick or weak or injured, I couldn't control any of my abilities. My illusions would get out of control and I would be caught in them. Sometimes I'd even accidentally get other people trapped in them. Someone would usually end up getting hurt and I always feel terrible afterwards. No, I really should leave. Just give me a second to try to get my mind together enough to convince them to convince me. I need to convince me to walk through this huge crowd of really shiny bugs. Even though I know they're not real, I can't get my rational mind to think that, and it won't let me walk through them. Yeah, you're right. That seems like I'm stuck here for the time being. At least until the illusion wears off. I'm just gonna be here with you. But something tells me that dragonflies aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Oh, because they're still telling me that I need to tell you how I feel. So I bet they're gonna be around for a long time. They'll be around for a good while because I don't really want to tell you how I feel. Then again, I'm an unholy level of drunk and you're clever enough to ask the right questions that'll get me to spill everything without a second thought. You've always been really good at that. But if I end up telling you everything, I'll tell you absolutely everything, which will take forever. Since my emotions are complex. Hate you? No, I don't hate you. I could never hate you. But given everything that I've done and how I act around you, I understand why you'd think that. Actually, I was hoping that you would think that. I was counting on it. Nope. I'm not telling you that answer so easily. If you want it, you're gonna have to trick me into telling you. I'm sure you'll think of something. It's not like I'm going anywhere anyway. Sure, thanks. Do you mind if I took a seat on your bed? Oh, shut up. So what if I'm more polite when I'm drunk? What's that matter any? Thanks for letting me come in. And quit laughing. It's good manners to say thank you when you're in someone else's space. Actually, yes, please, some water would be really, really good. Thanks. My throat was starting to feel dry. I mean, I assume from liquor. I don't drink often, which is probably for the best since I'm clearly one well-phrased question from spilling my guts right here and now. Oh, I know that. It won't be hard for you to trick some answers out of me, but that doesn't mean I'm going down without a fight. You're gonna have to actually try if you want some answers out of me. Because it's awkward and embarrassing, so I'm gonna avoid it for as long as I can. Because I don't want to express my emotions to you like that. Especially when I'm like this. Well, you know, drunk, holding a handful of garden variety weeds and some mint soaked to the bone. Speaking of which, sorry if I'm getting your bed wet. Why did I see weeds and mint? Because mint isn't a weed, duh. Figured you of all people would know that. Are you kidding me? Because you love mint. You always loved mint. I remember when we were little, and they would take us outside for sparring practice. You'd always sneak some back in and hide it under your pillow. During the overthrowing of the old council, you would put mint leaves in your mask to hide the smell of blood and decay. To this day, I know you chew on mint leaves when you're feeling emotional or stressed because well, I don't know why you chew on them, but I know that you do. I don't know, just seems obvious that you like mint, especially after I kept seeing it. After I noticed the way you gravitated to mint, I did not notice it. So now whenever I see mint, I think of you. That's why I can't look at mint, even though I like to. Even though I like it. I also like it. Mint, I mean. What? No, of course not. I already told you that I don't hate you. I can't look at mint because every time I see it, it reminds me of you, how much we've been through together, how much we haven't been through because I couldn't come near you while I was trying to get everything under control. I couldn't come near you. I couldn't talk to you. Fuck, there were days I couldn't even think about you because that meant the mere thought of you would make my head spin and I'd start to hallucinate. And I kept getting hurt by my own illusions. I kept getting hurt and I knew why. I knew it was because I was thinking of you. I couldn't stop. And I didn't want to stop. Thinking of you may have been painful, but made everything just a little bit more bearable because Fine. You got me. Starting to spill like a burst dam. Now I can't seem to stop. So before you ask me any more questions, I'm going to stop you there and I'll start from the beginning. There's no other way to explain all this and have it make sense, so just let me get it all out in the open before you say anything. Can we both agree on that? If you're gonna get on the bed with me, at least get under the covers. It's harder to pull the sheets up when you're sitting on them. I'm still cold as hell and want to be able to bury myself in them. Me. Hell is hot, not cold. Shut up. You know what I meant. You know, I wish we didn't have these incredibly high metabolism rates so I could be more drunk while dealing with this. Oh, wait, that's right. You didn't get the really good metabolism. Only I did. Hey, don't flick your tongue. Just because you're jealous that I get double servings when Longshot makes breakfast doesn't mean you get to flick me about it. Ow, fine. I'll start talking. No need for the third degree. God, I really wish I had a few more drinks for this. I know you're not gonna give me more, which is rude of you, since you know my metabolism is running through the alcohol faster than you can hit a still target, but I'll suck it up and tell you anyway. Just, while I'm doing this, don't interrupt me, okay? Okay. So to explain this with as much detail as I can, I guess I need to start by telling you what I'm explaining, which is, as we already said, are my feelings for you. To be more specific, my feelings of distinctly not hatred. However, you already said that you have good reason to think I hate you, and I agree with you. So I'm going to explain from the very beginning why I need you to hate me. It's called stating the thesis. Now, I said no interrupting, so shut up. So, Alright, we've known each other for a while, for at least as far back as our memories go. Or as far back as we can trust our memories to go. That's a fair statement, right? Right. We've known each other since our abilities were released. Hell, even before there were abilities to be released, when we were little. We were nameless kids being observed to see if we could be weapons. And we were friends. Best friends. Oh, what was it we always said? Bestest friends for life, forever. Either way, we were close, just like all of us unnamed were. Then, as we got older, the experiments started. I don't even remember most of them. I was too young. They started to figure out which ones of us were going to be able to handle having abilities. They started sorting us. Those who could physically handle their abilities and those whose bodies were consumed by them. I remember it all happening. That's the first time we all got our own rooms. We were all so excited. It wasn't until we saw them carrying out the dead bodies at dawn every morning that we realized why they were separating us. They were trying to keep us from seeing each other die. They told us it was to protect us, but it felt like it was so we couldn't grow soft because we were comforting our friends in their final moments. They let us see the bodies anyway. So who are they protecting? What were they protecting? Besides the idea of their hardened weapons with no heart or head of their own. But let's ignore my anger for a minute. We've already talked about this before, and I know that all of us on the prophecy unit are on the same page. I don't want to get emotional this early in the talk. I know it'll happen eventually. I can't start getting choked up this quick. But as you remember, after that, we were all separated, so they tried to figure out who had which abilities. When we were taken away from each other, I think we all thought it would only be for a while. I remember thinking that since we were all staying in the same building, we could see each other again soon. Maybe a month at most, I thought. This 1 month turned into 2, and 2 turned into 3. Day by day passed, and I realized that this time was different. This time was going to be much longer than the others, and it was. It was several years longer, each day dragged by painfully, slowly. And after we realized I had the ability to create illusions, the training made each day hurt even more. I missed everyone, especially you. As I got older and my abilities began to advance, the scientists became excited with how my powers were developing. They keep saying that they'd never seen a psychic powered like mine before, that my abilities are more advanced than any of the other members. I'd be sitting on the medical table swinging my legs because I was too small to reach the ground, listening as they told me that I could become the perfect weapon for infiltration and field combat. I was hardly even listening to what they were saying. All I could think about was how cold it was in there, how much I wanted to go play outside in the sun instead. I was just a kid. We all were. For years, they would test my powers, same as the rest of you, except they would try to get me to hurt people, to warp their minds and they would try to get me to dig into people's minds and make reality seem to be different than it is. They would try to get me to do it to anyone and everyone. The technicians, the medical staff, hell, even the other scientists when they could. I hated it, but it worked because I couldn't control who saw what illusions, or if they saw any at all. They all said that using my illusions on real people was the only way to advance my abilities and master them enough to get them under control. So I did. They insisted I try to do it to everyone I could, at every chance I got. Hell, when we were brought back into the main building on the complex, finally able to live all together for the first time in years, They tried to get me to try it on all of you. They couldn't make me do anything anymore, not since we had completed our training with them, but they kept trying to kindly suggest it, just so they could see if my illusions would have a different effect on other people with released abilities. I already told them that I couldn't, and I never did. I never wanted to find out what would happen if I did. That's why I stopped spending time with everyone, I guess. I was scared. So fucking scared that if I ever lost control of my powers for even a second, I'd lose my control and grab onto someone's mind and just... I was horrified that I'd do something I couldn't fix, that no one would be able to fix. What if I just couldn't stop myself and dug into their brain and just pulled? Just let my powers tear and rip at everything that holds their minds together. I wouldn't have been able to live with myself after that. I don't know what I would have done, especially if it was to someone in the unit. I grew up with all of you, and if I had even mildly invaded your mind without your permission, I don't know if I could have kept going if I did that. But as we all got older, I started to gain some control over my abilities, especially after we overthrew the council. My own mind wasn't attacking me as much, and I was figuring out how to build up some defenses, I guess. I was getting better at reining in the stronger parts of my abilities, and as I worked more with them, I realized that I could have complete control over them. I could even start to be around everyone again, for longer periods of time than before. But the complete control thing came with strict rules that I had to follow if I wanted it to work. Well, rules like no excessive drinking, for one. As you can see, I'm a walking hazard in this state. When I'm drunk like this, I have no control over how my abilities work or what they show to people. Usually I have enough control that I can keep the range of what I affect to just myself. Will that change if I were to black out? Yes. Do I usually get that drunk? Of course not. Anything like drugs, alcohol, even over-the-counter medications that might have certain side effects. Side effects to all of these things are strictly against the rules. It's not guaranteed that anything will happen when I'm on these. In fact, there's good odds that I'll be able to make sure I'm the only one affected by my abilities. But there's still a chance that I could lose my hold on to them. And I don't take chances. You know that. Everyone knows that. But along the uppers, downers, and medicine with strong side effects, there's other emotional factors I have to account for. Well, I guess when I say emotional factors, I mean emotions that are, well, almost any emotion, really. Any strong emotions that can get a reaction out of me. Joy, despair, rage, fear. Just anything with a strong enough impact on me that it would cause me to... It's hard to find the words to describe this, but I guess any emotions that can invoke a physical reaction. An increase in my pulse, change in my respiratory rate, tensing of my muscles. Any emotion that's strong enough that I could have a physical response. Does that give you an idea of what I'm talking about? Okay, good. So it's really important that I keep these emotions in check, because if I get too lost in them, I might accidentally... Well, I'm sure you get it by now. Unlike with alcohol or other things, emotions make it harder to keep them to myself. Sure, you remember a few times during the uprising that my anger got the best of me and what happened because of it. Exactly. When I was younger, that was especially hard to control. Now that I'm older, emotions like anger and fear are easier. It's almost second nature at that point. Problem is that now, feeling so many positive emotions that I hardly know what to deal with them. I'm feeling so many positive emotions and I honestly don't know how to deal with them. Well, like excitement. Do you remember when we took down the final council member together? I tore into their mind while you buried your claws deep in their gut. I felt their life slipping away while I dug through their memories. Right before they died, I found the codes to the sanctuary. It's one of the many things they were so proud of. One of the cruelest ways they had to keep us under their control. They weren't proud then. No. They were scared. Scared and angry and devastated. I felt the dread in their mind when they realized that the council had lost and that they were going to die there, with your hands pulling them apart while I stole the information that could give us back everything they'd stolen from us. They wanted to control us even in their death, but they couldn't. We'd won. We were free. When I felt them realize that in their dying moments, they had failed, I was ecstatic. My brain was buzzing, and I remember hearing you say something about how it had been the first time you'd seen me smile in years. And I remember you screaming. I remember the pain on your face. And I remember you falling to the ground with blood gushing from your nose and ears. I didn't even realize I'd lost control again until it was too late. You were out for 3 weeks. While the rest of the unit was visiting the sanctuaries, reviving everyone and recovering everything that they could, we were here. You fighting for your life against your conscience, and me crying crocodile tears because I was the reason you might not wake up. Those were the 3 longest weeks of my entire goddamn life, waiting to see if you'd live. I don't think anyone ever told you this. Mainly because I told them not to, but I spent every second of those 3 weeks in the medical wing just fucking hoping that you were gonna make it. Every single one of those seconds, I got more and more nervous that you wouldn't. But God, I couldn't let myself know that I thought that. So I spent the entire time just watching your vitals, hoping to see some sign, any sign that you were waking up, while I thought about you. You know, when I was thinking about you, I realized something. I realized that there's a lot to think about. I mean, we've known each other for longer than we've known which direction the sun sets in. I know you like I know. Fuck, I know you more than I know anything else in this world. You occupy such a huge part of my mind, and I didn't even notice it until I didn't have you around to make me use that part of my brain. It made everything feel off, and I couldn't explain why. I didn't have to think of comebacks to whatever sharp comments you made. I didn't need to think of sparring strategies that I could use to exploit your weaknesses. I couldn't ask you for updates on the statuses of everyone else and make sure we both knew each other's next step. Most of all, I didn't have to avoid you. It was so bizarre. I'd spent years trying to avoid you as much as possible, but now that I finally could, I didn't want to. I just wanted you back. I wanted you alive and well and right here with me, and I never wanted to leave you again. Can you believe that? We've been so cold to each other for so many years, for most of our lives by that point. Yet there I was, half delirious because I hadn't slept in days, because every time I closed my eyes, I saw you, laying in that hospital bed. I was shaking and exhausted and bordering on collapsing from taking such shitty care of myself. And all it took was me realizing that I wouldn't be able to live without you. That's all it took to have me fucking breaking down right beside you. I started crying like I hadn't cried in years. I grabbed your hand and wept for hours, choking on my own words, because some desperate part of me hoped you'd hear them and wake up. And I said the words I'd never meant to say. I love you. I said them, and then I broke even further than I thought I could because I meant them. I meant them so much I thought I might die if you did. So I kept saying them, because I didn't know what I would do if you didn't hear me saying them and didn't wake up. I said it over and over until my throat was raw and I lost my voice. I love you. 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 I don't even know how long I said it until I heard everything start to go off. Your heart rate spiked, and so did your brain activity. I was so scared, I was worried you were dying. Then I saw your eyes open just for a second, before I was being pulled away from you, but so the medical team could see if you were all right. For a second, I couldn't believe it. You were alive. Worse for wear, but alive. Just remember hearing them say that you were going to make it, and that they'd stabilized your condition, even though you passed again. You were breathing, and your heart was beating, and you displayed the first responses to stimulus in months. Felt nearly too good to be true. Knowing that you were alive. With the state I was in, I couldn't handle that much emotion. I was elated, so fucking happy that I lost control of my emotions again. I knocked myself out cold along with everyone in the lobby. When I woke up a few days later, I was the one in the hospital bed, and you'd been cleared to return to living in the main building again. When I'd asked what happened, they'd explained that it was something similar to what happened when I knocked you out. And since then, in a, and I quote, shitty state of health, the effect it had on everyone was weaker. But it still hurt people. And I realized that I'd spent so long learning to control my negative emotions that I didn't learn how to handle the positive ones. And I realized that before I acted on any of these feelings, I needed to learn to control them. Or not exactly control them, but keep them from, lashing out. So I started keeping my distance again. I thought that it would only be a little while before I learned how to get them all figured out and reined in. I mean, it was only a while since it's not exactly a new subject to me, but getting the actual confidence to express anything again, that took a while. Kept telling myself that today I'll tell you how I feel, and then I didn't. What if I lose control again? Kept asking myself, because it can happen. What if my control isn't as good as I think it is? So I kept delaying for longer than I'm gonna admit. Then today, Eureka's had us drink for the experiment. I guess that was all the liquid courage I needed. I walked my happy ass down here after getting lost a few times, obviously, so I could tell you how I feel. Of course, now that I'm here, I'm regretting all of this. But there's no way to back out now, is there? So here it all is, once and for all. I don't hate you. I could never hate you, because I love you. I'm desperately in love with you, and I have for so long that I can't imagine not loving you. I just couldn't keep going on like this without telling you. I'm sure that this is all a lot for you to take in, but I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to talk to me again. But like I said, I just had to let you know. That's really all I wanted to say. I'm just gonna head out now. I hope you have a good night. Hmm? Was there something you needed from me? Why did you just kiss me? What do you mean? No, I don't. I need you to tell me. Just say it for me. Please? You mean that? That you love me too? Fuck, I can't believe it. How didn't I notice? Were we just too busy trying to hide our own feelings that we never realized each other's? You actually love me? For how long? Why didn't you say anything? Fuck, you're right. I probably would have thought you were joking. God, I'm a moron. Actually, I was a moron, but now I finally got it right. Just this one time. I got it right. Can I kiss you again? Now that I've got my head out of my ass? Hey, I never want to be apart from you ever again. I want to be with you for the rest of our lives. Please stay with me. Of course I will. You stay with me and I'll stay with you. You and me, together until this world drags us to our grave. And it's gonna have to fight me if it wants you.